And as we continue the conversation on cutting edge technologies that enable us to confront cookie deprecation head on and explore solutions that are effective and privacy first, I'm really pleased to introduce Ilaria, who's the general manager for Quantcast for Italy and Spain, and Francesca Grassi Mantelli, who's the digital marketing cluster lead at Vodafone, who'll dive into this topic further. Over to you, Ilaria.
Hi, Nick. Thank you. It's a real pleasure to be here with you guys. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Hopefully everything works. Okay. And let's see. Okay. Do you see it? Yes. Okay, perfect. Good morning, everybody. It's, as I said, it's a real pleasure to be here with you today. Before I start, I would like to do a brief introduction on who is Quantcast. Is an advertising technology company that has developed an innovative audience intelligence platform, allowing brands, agencies, and publishers to know and grow their audiences online. So during today's presentation, let me try to move slides. Okay, during today's presentation, I will take you through and I will speak to you about the future of online advertising in a world without cookie. We're going to go through the state of the industry, so the changes that will define the future of online advertising. We will try to understand together what will happen after 2023 and the implication for the industry. We will also talk about the alternatives we already have available and are rising up in the market about a future without cookie. And also, finally, Francesca will present the Vodafone approach to the cookieless world and the result of the testing activities that they have conducted with the Quantcast cookieless solution. Let's start with some context. Chrome, the world-leading browser with 70% adoption, announced in early 2020 that will no longer support third-party cookies starting 2022. Now, third-party cookies, of course, are those cookies that don't come directly from the site you're visiting, but as the name suggests, they come from third parties that collaborate with the site or technologies that allow to deliver targeted ads. Now, an announcement that if on one side represented a revolutionary change for the industry, for the online industry, on the other one was not unexpected. As we already spoke, other browsers such as Safari and Firefox have already implemented some times ago some solutions that did not allow the usage of third-party cookie, moving towards an approach that take more into consideration the privacy and the transparency towards consumers. A scenario, however, that is in constant evolution. Last June, the American company has in fact communicated the decision of Chrome to make its decision effective only towards mid-2023, postponing by almost 2 years the elimination of third-party cookies. And maybe this date will be postponed even further. Now, however, we believe that brands, agencies, publisher, and tech companies should remain focused on finding long-term solutions in order to continue operating effectively and efficiently in the market, and also to take advantage of the cookieless inventory that is already available. Now let's have a look at the state of the industry and the developments that will shape its future. Digital advertising is booming, and this is thanks to a digital transformation of companies, businesses, and consumers' behavior that was further accelerated with the pandemic. In 2021, global ad spending on digital advertising has grown by 20% to reach 455 billion euro. That is definitely an extremely positive and encouraging result. Now, while the ad spend is growing, its distribution is heavily skewed towards what we call walled gardens, which are those closed ecosystems formed by the giant of tech that do not share data, information, and technology. 80% of the digital ad spend flows into them. Now, these tech giants, that despite the fact they don't produce any original content, they have used their privileged position in terms of data and AI to create advertising solutions that work and have made it extremely easy for advertisers to spend money in them. In this scenario, there is a growing attention on the topic of privacy, with new regulations that have been implemented in the various countries. We remember GDPR in Europe, that was followed by California Consumer Privacy Act, and the last one in terms of timing, PIPL in China. Now, there is an increasing pressure, therefore, on governments around the world to create and enforce legislation in these areas. And because of this, consumer awareness on these issues have never been higher. What is clear is that we have entered the age of privacy, and the spotlight will remain on consumer data and on consent. Now, this complex scenario will be soon further modified by another major change, the elimination of third-party cookie, as we said. Now, historically, cookies have been the basis through which we understood audiences, and advertising impressions were measured and were optimized. Today, we must say, though, that this technology is dated. The reality is that the data collected from third-party data is weeks, if not months old. And in addition, the source is often unknown. Someone collects the data, classifies it, packages, and then pass it on to one or more third parties. And as we look at, if we look at this graph, it is also very relevant to realize that we already live in a world without cookie for 50% of the total internet activity. Now, this is why we need to find an alternative solution to third-party data now, not only to anticipate the near future and to be ready for the changes, but also to be finally able to understand and measure that 50% of audience that currently we don't plan. All of these changes are inaugurating a new era of the online advertising, but not without implications. Let's see them together. We will not be able to rely on the past method for identity and measurement. And why? Because third-party cookies have been used for associating events across websites and have been provided a useful, even if limited, understanding on consumer insights and consumer habits. So since third-party cookies have been central for audience planning, campaign activation, measurement, and attribution, the deprecation will have certainly an impact on how these capabilities will work in the future. And the current method are no longer sufficient. The cookie transition could also lead to more power to the walled gardens. Now, walled gardens can rely on a huge amount of first-party data they have collected through logins and through their accounts. For example, Google can leverage 1.8 billion of active users on Gmail and 2 billion users on YouTube. And in addition, let's not forget that the value of a user for a publisher is directly proportional to the amount of data available. Today, someone who uses Safari is of a less value for a publisher than someone who uses browsers that can be profiled using third-party cookies. What that means is that user contributes less to the advertising revenue that allows the publisher to produce relevant content. And finally, if it becomes increasingly difficult for advertisers to book effectively on the open internet, which are all the websites that compose the web outside of the walled gardens, it is obvious that there will be more investment allocated to the walled gardens. Now, these crucial decisions over the next few years will decide the fate of the open internet. So it is essential for the advertising industry to focus on creating solutions that allow everyone, publishers, advertisers, agency, to access a technology that can match the walled gardens for effectiveness, efficiency, scalability, and easy to use. The future of the open internet does depend on this. Let's look at the emerging alternatives to third-party cookies. So several solutions are emerging in the market. First-party data, which of course are becoming more and more relevant, which basically is data collected directly from the websites and available to publishers. We have cohorts, which are a group of consumers divided by certain common characteristics. We have the world of contextual, which refers to the context of the content on which the user is navigating on. And we have identity solutions that basically identify and track the user using different technology. At Quantcast, we believe there will not be one size fits all solution, and that the most valuable solution will be a comprehensive approach that will combine different types of signals. Thanks to the work that we have done in the past years to find a viable long-term solution for the cookieless, we came to three main conclusions: that cookieless solutions must be multi-signal, a viable alternative must integrate different type of data to achieve a granular and deep understanding of the user behavior on the open internet. That measurement is key because it allows to work on optimizations and improvement of campaigns, and growth can only happen and cannot happen without measurements, and that cutting edge technology can help us to get there. We need to leverage AI and machine learning to make sense, to give sense of the data, and this technology can support us in filling the gaps that we have in understanding and supporting us in working on the predictive modeling. Now let's have a look into a bit more details on our approach on the cookieless world and how Quantcast is approaching this in a multi-signal way. We look at different signals, and our approach is not dependent on only one signal as it happened in the past, but because we want to be able to continue operating in the market independently from the possible futures that will happen in the industry. So the signals we're looking at are first-party data, as we said, which are becoming more and more relevant. And our first-party data come from our solution, which is Quantcast Measure, an analytical tool where we have more than 100 million web destinations that uses our Quantcast tag. Then, of course, we look at consent. We need to make sure we have consent from the user before we're being able to provide him with some personalized ad. And to do, we use our Quantcast Choice solution, our consent management platform that we have launched when GDPR came into place. Of course, we look at contextual. So we rely on natural language processing and machine learning to analyze billions of sites and optimize the open internet in what we call a topic map, a multidimensional analysis of the content by topic and by interest. And then if they are available, we also look at signals like identifier and cohorts, but only if the signals are successful. If the signals hit some regulatory obstacle or they fail to reach the scale that is needed to be using these signals, our algorithm can also work and without them, and is not dependent on them. And finally, we look at all the other signals that we will be able to continue using also without third-party cookies. That's language, time, geolocation, and device. All of the signals are going to be powered by our AI and machine learning engines to make sure we have a flexible solution that can accommodate all the changes that the industry might be going towards, and is going to look at the strongest signals to make sure we work in accuracy and scale. The diminish of third-party cookie is definitely near, but many players in the industry, after the decision of Google to postpone the date until 2023, have decided to reallocate their people and their resources to other projects. However, cookieless solutions are already available, and starting testing today allow us to experiment and to be future-proof for the future. Three are the concrete reasons that we believe we should look at to start testing right away. The first one is surely to reach new audience in a more effective way. We are able to expand our reach on inventory, where we have not planned until now. And at this stage, this inventory is also more cost effective because of lack of competition. Of course, we don't expect this to continue, but this is a good also opportunity to start testing now. And then also we have time to experiment, meaning that we are able right now to measure and optimize. We're able to verify the differences between a cookieless environment versus a third-party cookie environment. And Francesca will take us through this and give you her experience in that sense. And of course, why waiting for 2023 where we can start testing and being ahead of competition right now? Now, I am going to pass over to Francesca, who is going to take you through the experience of Vodafone in a cookieless world and the results of the tests they have conducted with Quantcast. I'm going to try to give you control. To you, Francesca.
Thank you, Ilaria. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So my name is Francesca Grassi Mantelli. I'm responsible for digital marketing and digital acquisition sales at Vodafone Italy. I'm particularly happy to be here today with a partner like Quantcast, who operates in the open internet, because I think that obviously we have a very clear mantra: revenue and efficiency. However, I think as advertisers and as marketers, we have strong responsibilities in terms of nourishing a healthy ecosystem where every player is appreciated for its contribution and for the value it brings. Today, I'm here to basically substantiate with numbers what Ilaria showed you. Let's see if I can switch.
You should have control.
Yes, it should go, but it's not. Okay, it's going.
Yes, we see it.
Thank you. As I said, we're Vodafone Italy, probably everybody knows it, international corporation operating in the telco industry, headquartered in London. We are very much invested in the digital transformation that Ilaria was talking about earlier, which for us means investments in R&D, so like product, making sure it's easily accessible digitally and provides a simplified service for our customers. Secondly, of course, it means investment in human capital, so in digital capabilities that have been across the years insourced in Vodafone to be sure to really drive our digital strategy. And from a more media and communication perspective, this means our investments are generally, depending on the market, but very much shifted towards digital rather than offline channels. Is it going, the slide? Takes some time that it goes. There you go. So what is our approach to the cookieless world? I would say our approach to innovation in general is and has always been that of a startup, basically. Continue scouting and testing of solutions available on the market, which again, I also think it's, again, another responsibility big corporations like us have, because if we don't test what's on the market, who's going to do it? We do that via, first of all, leveraging very much our first party data, which we have lots of course. And secondly, by betting on artificial intelligence, because it helps us with scalability and efficiency. It's better, the usual thing we always say in this industry, but it's better if our digital experts and traders can spend their time on thinking about what strategy they want to put in place rather than optimizing the very single line item. All of this we do with a strong focus on privacy, because at the end of the day, we say first party data is not our data, it's our client's data. And as a telco, we're all telcos, but especially Vodafone, we're very much focused on privacy. Yes, so Quantcast, I guess Ilaria explained very well the product. Why did Vodafone Italy test this solution? Really for three main reasons. One, because it doesn't rely on third-party data. I know we've been in the industry for quite some time. We know that third-party data is very often very inconsistent and not very valuable. Secondly, because they leverage on different signals, so it's not too focused on just contextual, for example. And third of all, and I guess more importantly for us, is because Quantcast has a strong expertise in the AI business developed throughout the years. Everyone who's been doing performance knows that the algorithm works. So I guess these are the main reasons. Another more operational thing I would highlight is that this was the only partner with whom we could run a clean A/B test, cookieless environment versus with cookies environment, because otherwise it's always difficult to really highlight the results of specific tests unless they are run in an A/B test way. So that did help us. Our objectives were, of course, to explore this cookieless environment ahead of the times. But as Ilaria said, not so much ahead of the times, because there's already a lot of users who don't accept cookies. There's a lot of browsers who don't accept them. So really, it's now not very much ahead of the times. But there are obviously with cookies solutions. We wanted to be able to compare them. And secondly, because we wanted to understand and monitor the validity of our tech stack for measurement on one hand, and also for attribution. We've developed an internal data-driven attribution model, which we very much lean on to understand if we're spending well our money at the end of the day. And so these were the main two reasons why we wanted to run this test. Few results, I think the numbers are quite clear. So just to give you some more details about the test. So we focused on our fixed line business, so selling via the digital channels for consumer base, so not business. Our KPIs were business related because they were sales, not qualitative traffic or viewability or KPIs more related to communication, but very much business. And the data was, of course, confirmed by our ad server, which we directly run. So the test started from being the typical 3 weeks test, and it became, I guess in November, it became an always-on activity, which we have been running ever since, which gets incremental budget a month. For the moment, the results are continuously positive. On one hand, for the price, cost per sale has been more efficient by 15%. This is also due by the fact that we're buying better because, as Ilaria said, there is less competition there. So at the moment, CPM is 53% lower. It was even stronger, this number at the beginning, but I guess that's not the main figure we look at. What's interesting for us is an 18% increase in conversion rate, because that means that consumers there are of better quality, more interested. These for us have been very encouraging figures to decide to basically keep the test running. I keep saying test because, as I said, that's how we work. We don't work on very long-term planning. It's very much day by day. And yes, I think I hope that we were clear. I wanted to gather just a few clear messages, but should you have specific questions or comments, here are our contact details. And thank you for having us.